In this video, we'll dive into the wild world of guns with fan clubs more intense than boy bands. We're talking about 5 firearms here that have fan bases so dedicated they're practically gun evangelists. These folks don't just own one of these babies, they've got an arsenal, and they're not shy about preaching the virtues of their beloved bang sticks. And hey, just for the record, I'm not throwing shade at these guns. Personally, I love them all. But today, we're not focusing on the guns themselves. Nah, we're spotlighting the die-hard communities that rally around them. So, let's roll into this gun stravaganza and see what makes these communities tick. Number 5, FNFAL. The FNFAL. Oh boy, where do I start? This rifle isn't just a firearm, it's more like the secret handshake of the gun world. The FAL has a cult following that's as intense as it is knowledgeable, and once you dive into their world, you'll understand why. First up, the FAL's history is nothing short of impressive. It's been adopted by so many countries that its enthusiasts can probably list them all, including the dates of adoption. These fans are like walking encyclopedias when it comes to the FAL. They don't just shoot these rifles, they live and breathe every detail of their history and variations. Back in the 90s, these guys were picking through barrels of parts to build their FALs, and they take pride in knowing the ins and outs of each piece. Talk about being particular, though. FAL enthusiasts often chuckle at modern productions. If it's not assembled in Belgium, well, let's just say they're not impressed. To them, every FAL has a story, and the closer it is to the original, the better. And if you think you can just stroll into a gunsmith shop for some tweaks on your FAL, think again. You need to find the wizards of the FAL world, those with the specialty tools and the deep knowledge, just to turn a screw. Now, if you decide to modernize your FAL, be prepared for some side eyes. These purists believe in keeping it classic. No need for fancy new sights on a rifle that's perfect the way it was designed. And those issues the FAL faced, like in the 6-Day War, or its quirky habit of running only 2 rounds on full auto, mere anecdotes to the true believers. Adjustable gas system a hassle? They shrug it off. It's all part of the FAL's charm. The FAL community is like an exclusive club. They're the kind of folks who might seem like they're planning world domination at their secret meetings. Heck, your neighbor, your mailman, or the stern old guy down the street might just be part of this FAL society. Despite its quirks and the fact that it might be getting overshadowed by newer rifles, the FAL remains a significant piece of history. For those in the know, the FAL isn't just a rifle, it's a passion, and that's why its cult following is as strong as ever. Number 4, M1 Garand. Talk about a gun with a cult following, the M1 Garand is up there with the best of them. This rifle isn't just a firearm, it's a piece of Americana. The folks who are into M1 Garands, they don't just like this rifle, they revere it. And once you dive into what the Garand is all about, it's pretty clear why it's got such a dedicated fan base. First things first, the M1 Garand is a living piece of history. It's like the rock star of World War II rifles. Holding a Garand is like touching a piece of the past. It's got this old school cool that modern rifles just can't match. You fire an M1 and you're instantly connected to a bygone era. That's something special, something that goes beyond just shooting. The M1 Garand isn't just about nostalgia though. It's got a presence when you shoot it. The iconic ping, when the clip ejects, is music to any gun lover's ears. And shooting it, it's like driving a classic muscle car. There's a raw, satisfying power to it. Now, the Garand crowd is a mix of history enthusiasts, collectors, and old-school shooters. They love to nerd out on every aspect of the rifle. But here's the funny part. They insist the M1 is as good as any modern rifle out there. They'll downplay its quirks, like the 8-round capacity, the weight, and how it's not the biggest fan of mud. But that's just part of its charm. Sure, it's got its quirks. Modern 30-06 ammo can be tough on it. It's got more exposed moving parts than newer rifles. and quick follow-up shots, not a strong suit. But that's not the point. The M1 Garand is an icon. It's a piece of history that we get to hold and shoot. The love for the M1 Garand is about more than just the rifle. It's about being part of a tradition, a legacy of craftsmanship and reliability. It served America well, and despite being dated, it's a rifle that deserves to be cherished. It's got character, a story, and a community that keeps its spirit alive. And that's why the M1 Garand's cult following isn't just surviving, it's thriving. Number 3, H&K P7. Next up in the world of firearms with a hardcore fan base is the H&K P7. Now, I'm not even exaggerating when I say that, to its fans, the P7 is the greatest handgun ever made. They've practically formed a church of Heckler and Koch, and their devotion to the P7 is almost religious. I've been a part of this group for years, and let me tell you, it's been an eye-opener. Ever since I got into the P7, I've noticed a real shift in my outlook on life. There's just something about being part of this community. Whenever P7 owners meet up, it's a real treat. Everyone's super welcoming and always ready to share knowledge about this iconic pistol. There's a real sense of camaraderie among P7 enthusiasts. We are kind-hearted, open to sharing our experiences, and eager to educate anyone curious about the P7's wonders. There have been plenty of rumors and misunderstandings about the P7 over the years. Some say it's overpriced, but let's be real. You can't put a price on what's often touted as perfection. And yes, it's a bit on the heavier side, but that's just part of its appeal. The standard 8-round magazine is usually enough for newcomers, but the real enthusiasts aim for the elusive 13-round model. The design of the P7 is considered flawless by its fans. From its unique squeeze-cocking mechanism, low-profile slide, to its grip angle and fixed barrel, every aspect is appreciated. The story goes that Helmut Weld, the designer, stumbled upon the golden pre-drafted patent applications and schematics in the forests of Oberndorf. Proof? Well, apparently, those were transcribed and then vanished into thin air. As for the P7, it's not just a handgun. It's a symbol of innovation and design brilliance. The P7 community might seem a bit intense from the outside, but it's really a group of passionate enthusiasts who see the P7 as more than just a gun. It's a masterpiece, a work of art that you can shoot, and that's why the P7 has such a dedicated cult following. It's not just about owning a gun, it's about appreciating a piece of history and engineering excellence. Number 2, Glock. Wherever you go in the world, you're going to run into Glock fans, and most of them aren't just fans. They're diehards. These folks are all about their Glocks, and once you dive in, it's pretty clear why. First off, Glocks are famous for being ridiculously reliable. I mean, you hear stories about these things going through mud, sand, you name it, and they still fire like a charm. People dig that kind of dependability. It's like having a buddy you know will always have your back, no matter what. Plus, they're pretty straightforward to use, which is a big deal if you're not trying to fiddle with something complicated. Another huge thing about Glocks is the price point. They're not going to break the bank, and for what you're paying, you're getting a solid piece of hardware. It's like getting a premium deal without a premium price tag, and who doesn't love that? But here's where it really gets fun. Customizing. The world of Glock mods is like a playground. You've got sights, triggers, grips, barrels, you name it. And the community around these mods is huge. It's not just about making your Glock look cool, which is a bonus. It's about making it yours. You can tweak it to fit exactly what you want, and that's a big part of the Glock's charm. Now, about the Glock crowd. Again, these folks are everywhere, and they're super passionate. You'll see them rocking Glock gear, throwing around Glock jokes, the whole 9 yards. It's like being part of a club or a tight-knit community. You buy a Glock, and bam, you're one of them. And let's not forget the debates. Glock fans love to defend their turf, especially against the 1911 crowd. It's all in good fun, but it shows just how dedicated they are. It's not just about owning a gun, it's about being part of a legacy. So yeah, Glocks are more than just firearms. To some, they're a lifestyle, a statement. It's about being part of a community that's all about Gaston's grandest Tupperware milking cow. That's what Glock fanboys swear by. Once you're in for good. Number 1, 1911. Last on our list, but definitely not least, is the 1911 pistol. This isn't just any gun, it's got what might be the biggest and most unique fan base on the planet. The world of 1911 enthusiasts is vast and varied, filled with different sects and groups that have sprung up over the last century. Some of these groups are at odds with each other, while others wish everyone would just get along and appreciate the 1911 as one big family. The story of the 1911 starts with its creator, Lord Browning. At least that's what his fans might call him. When he introduced this revolutionary pistol, it was a game changer, but not without its skeptics. Initially, people were hesitant to give up their trusty revolvers. It wasn't until the US government, in what could be described as a theocratic move, adopted the 1911 that it really took off. Since then, it's been considered a pistol that's suited for just about everyone, crafted by the greatest gun designer to have ever lived. What's fascinating about the 1911 crowd? The diversity. You've got your collectors, who are like historians, preserving every variant of the 1911 they can get their hands on. Then there are the competitive shooters who swear by the 1911 for its precision and reliability in competitions. You've got the old-timers who've been carrying a 1911 since the 70s and wouldn't dream of switching to anything else. There are the casual owners who maybe shoot their 1911 a couple of times a year, and of course, my personal favorite, the midlife crisis crowd, who splurge on outrageously customized 1911s. The 1911 is more than just a gun. It's a piece of history that's still making its mark today. It's interesting how it still holds up as a top choice for personal protection, even after a century. And then there's the rivalry with the Glock crowd. Mentioning the 1911 can really get them going. It's odd, though, how you're almost expected to pick a side between the 1911 and Glock. In the end, the 1911 stands as a testament to enduring design and functionality. It's a century-old technology that still somewhat competes with modern firearms, which says a lot about its design. It might not be perfect for everyone, but its legacy and the community around it are undoubtedly impressive. And that wraps up this video. Any other guns with cult followings that you believe should have made the list? Sound off in the comments. Please like, share, subscribe, and click on the little bell icon for more of these videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.